I'm here with Juergen Schneider from Bank Julius Baer, and we are going to talk about actively managed certificates. Actively managed certificates are also known as dynamic equity notes, strategy index certificates, and actively managed trackers. And there's many more of these names. Actively managed certificates, also shortened as AMC, also are basically structured products where the underlying can be dynamically adjusted by the discretion of a third party, often an investment manager. AMCs can be issued as on-balance sheet or off-balance sheet products, can be exchange listed or privately placed. The majority of them is clearly privately placed. The interesting bit probably about this market, as it is often privately placed, that the estimated outstanding volume of this product by the end of 2009 was roughly $1 trillion and is currently growing. Thank you, Juergen, for joining me here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me here. As you said, my name is Juergen Schneider. I'm heading the structured product trading at Julius Baer since 2.5 years. Before I had several roles in trading and structuring in London and in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Maybe a quick one from my side. My name is Stefan Wagner. I'm the head of business development at vestr. Before that, I was a fund manager myself in Luxembourg, and before that, I ran also an AMC business as a competitor bank of Juergen's. And before then, I also worked for 20 years in London, where I ran the structured products business of Citigroup. Let's start right away. Why do you actually think AMCs, actively managed certificates, are so successful?
I think AMCs have a lot of benefits, and since 15 plus years, AMCs are a very important product category in the private wealth management space, especially external asset managers, family office, portfolio managers embrace the benefits of these products and use them quite heavily.
Yeah. What do you think the specific benefits and advantages of an AMC are versus, let's say, other alternatives that one could use for that kind of business?
I think one of the main benefits is, of course, operational kind of benefit and the flexibility you have with an AMC. For example, if you're an advisor, you have a lot of clients and you want to implement your investment strategy. So all your clients, they're buying just one AMC with one ISIN, you put it in their portfolios. Once you then want to adjust your investment strategy, you only need to speak to the AMC issuer, or in the new world where you have a platform, on one mouse click you can adjust your composition, and immediately it will be in all your client portfolios reflected. You don't need to do burdensome one-to-one bookings or in each of these portfolios. I think that's one of the main benefits I can see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We see exactly that same thing, that people really like the flexibility, and the time to market is so much faster than many of the alternatives. And if you have an idea where maybe the investment horizon is 18 months, if it takes you 6 months to get the product approved, probably half of the investment rationale is gone by then. Now, from your company's side, from Bank Julius Baer, how important is the AMC business for you?
We are a pure private wealth managers, and I'm in the markets division of this pure private wealth manager. So we are looking predominantly to produce products for the private wealth management community. And this is one of the important product categories. It has a very high importance for us. So since over a decade, I think the AMC business in our company is one of the core business lines. We invested heavily together in the cooperation with your company in building and enhancing of the platform. We have several specialists working on these topics over all these years. So it's one of our most important business lines, and I foresee as well it will be one of the more important business lines going forward.
I mean, we can see this clearly also from the volume that goes through. Clearly, it's growing. Now, you pointed out vestr, who I represent here. We are more a fintech startup. We only exist since 2017. How was it, such a long bank that has been around for so long, to work with a startup in a sense?
It was, I would say, it was very good, or it is a very good experience.
Thank you.
It's the advantage of working with a startup is, of course, you get a very fresh people who are open to new ideas. They are as well bringing open and new ideas into a traditional company like we have been. The mindset and the skills have been quite amazing, and as well the execution and the motivation has been very, very good. So I know I need to say it here now, but I think it was we really liked the experience so far, and hope we can proceed on this.
We hope so too. What makes sort of BJB's AMC offering unique, or how do you distinguish yourself from the other players out there?
I think the uniqueness are coming from two points. One is people and one is technology. The first one is people. So we have people in the structuring for AMCs, but as well in the trading, who have experience of 10 plus years in this area. So these people, they have seen all kind of client requests, all kind of quirks you can have from AMCs. So you have a very skillful, highly motivated, and good knowledge base which we can provide to the clients. The second point is technology. Here again, the investments we did over the last years have been quite considerably. So we are moving the platform to the new state-of-the-art platform, where we are bringing the AMC business even closer to the advisor with front-end GUIs, with enhanced reporting, where the advisor has on one click, the information he wants to have, and has full control and much better transparency, but as well straight through processing. Everything will be much, much quicker in the future.
That probably leads me actually right to my next question, in the sense is that when an AIM, an advisor, external asset manager comes and there's multiple people who can offer this, what should be sort of his one or two or three questions should be that he should ask all of them when he does his due diligence on the AMC provider?
Yeah, I think it's not one question he should ask. He should look at a bunch of questions, as you rightly pointed out. In my opinion, he should look at counterparty risk. I think counterparty risk is an important one. AMCs can have quite some considerably size. They are a huge portion of the AUM and an independent asset advisor might have. So counterparty risk is one thing he should look at. Second thing, he should look at the pricing. By pricing, I not only mean the pricing at the issuance. So a lot of people are spending a lot of time and discussing the pricing at the setup of the product, but he should consider as well what happens in the secondary market, how stable are the bids and the offers, how good are the bids and the offers, because a lot of the trades will come afterwards, or a lot of the upsizes and the downsizes. Yes. And if you're running in a period like last March, you want to have a stable, trustful kind of counterparty who shows you attractive bid and offers. And the last but not least is the service quality. In comparison to other structured products, it's not a product where you have one interaction at the issuance, you have interaction throughout the whole lifetime. You have a lot of contact points with the AMC issuer. Yes. There are a lot of questions around this. So I think it's very important you have a good team on the other side, which is swift in replying to answers and is providing you a good service and a good knowledge base here.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, because we see this, a traditional structured product is, stationary in a sense. You pick the underlying, that's it. Most of the work goes in initially. For an AMC, 99% of the work we did in analysis on that richly happens during the life cycle, and how do you manage that life cycle, and how do you look after your client, and is that provider still around in 3 years when you might have an issue or you need something resolved? I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Juergen, Bank Julius Baer, Asia is a big market for them, but also you in your career have spent some time in Asia. What do you think is sort of the main difference between, when it comes to AMC business, between, say, more traditional Swiss versus maybe a more dynamic Asia market?
In essence, the fundamentals are totally the same. You see the same features, but if you look a little bit closer, of course, you see the how would I say? I would say the typical Asian emphasis for leverage, for higher risk. You see clearly there. So we see much more requests coming in with leverage from Asia than we see in Europe or in Switzerland. I think that's one point. Another point is as well the underlying region. Of course, Asia is very US-centric for the underlyings and Asia-centric. Europe is playing only a very, very minor role there. So here it's as well a big difference.
So there's in Switzerland still a big home bias to, let's say, Europe or Switzerland, versus Asia is much more also focused on the US, you would say, and the
US and Asia, yes. Yeah.
And from the countries-wise, let's say, which ones are sort of the biggest then users of the AMC in APAC?
It's not surprisingly, I think, for you, it's Singapore and Hong Kong. We see a slight difference. Singapore is more like the Swiss-style AMC request. It's more like the external asset managers style, whereas in Hong Kong, more family offices and a little bit more investment-driven.
We have found more like investment managers or hedge fund managers who you want to use it as an alternative product to get something off and going. Yeah. How do you expect sort of the markets to grow, not only APAC, but maybe also in relative to Europe, where the growth has been going on for a while now?
I think Asia will have amazing growth. I think it will be coming from different levels. So first level is, if you look at the private wealth management assets, I think Asia will outpace Americas and will Europe. Mm-hmm. So that's plus the beta where you will have growth. But you will see as well more external asset managers in this region. So you will see as well this emergence, what you have seen in Switzerland, you will see as well there for the external asset managers, which will then again will be good for the AMC business. And last but not least, I think AMCs as well in the current external asset management community in the family office has not the penetration as you see in Switzerland, in Europe. So here you will have a kind of a third kicker.
Yeah, the market acceptance is definitely going up. We see that as well. Trends. I mean, AMC, what is the underlying? You can put a lot of things in there. There's a lot of options, but what do you think are sort of the trends in that market, or you expect?
Yeah, I think there are several trends. I would categorize two things. One is the content. Mm-hmm. And the other one is the delivery mechanism. So let's first stick on the content. What you see more is ESG topics coming into the space. Of course, you will see more illiquid, non-bankable or crypto assets coming into this space. Mm-hmm. That's clearly what you see on the content side. On the delivery mechanism, what we see, you see this SPV style AMCs coming.
Maybe we need to explain what an SPV is quickly. SPV is a special purpose vehicle. It's a separate entity that issues that structured product. Then.
Correct. Yeah. It's off balance sheet, so it's not on the balance sheet of the issuer. So it's a little bit outside, and that's what a SPV is. So you see this emergence over the last years coming into play. What you see as well, managed account SPVs, and third point on the more technical, on the platform side, like Vestr, you see the enhancement of the platform. So you see a more straight-through processing. You see platforms where the advisors, the clients can click and trade and have state-of-the-art features.
I mean, we have clearly seen also from our platform side what clients use it for. The cycle of setting up is also shortening more and more. It used to be a couple of weeks. Now you're probably sometimes even down to 48 hours if you've worked with that external asset manager and it's a reasonable standard product.
It's not only the cycle who is shortening, it's as well as the sizes, and I think that's another trend. You might call it as a trend. So it will be, before at some point you needed to have 10 million assets under management to do an AMC, then 5, then 3, and at some point it will be going down to 1 or even lower. So it will be as well more accessible to a wider group. And
now we see a lot of interest in AMCs, but we also have seen different or a new market participant coming into it. Is that something you expect as well to happen?
It's not only what we are expecting, it's what we are seeing as well, right? So what AMCs, the stronghold of the AMC have been always the Swiss banks and the Swiss issuers. what we have seen over the last years, that more the international, the European, and as well as the US issuers are looking into this topic. And quite recently, we see as well brokers and other market participants without a balance sheet coming into this market.
Okay, interesting. And when we talk about AMCs, I think there are sort of two very specific types of AMCs. One is what I call the certificate style or index, where basically if new money comes in, it gets distributed one-to-one, exactly how it currently weighting is like an index. Or you could call it more like a portfolio style, where if the cash comes in, the investment manager then discretionarily decides how he wants to invest it independently what already is in there. Do you see trends? Is one more popular than the other, or where did they come from?
No, I think it's one is as good as the other. I think it depends a lot where what is the experience of the advisor, what is the preference of the advisor, what will he do, what is the purpose of it. Maybe sometimes it matters what are the underlyings, liquid versus illiquid. And this might drive the decision for one or for the others, but they're equally good. It's more like the preference and the use case.
Historically, where they came from, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.